Exactly.
Hello. Today I get to sit down with someone who has really impacted my life. She's been a mentor to me, a leader I've learned from, and someone who truly lives out what she shares. Mary Beth has built a life around nourishing her body, her family, and others. And I'm really grateful that you get to hear a bit of her story today. So, Mary Beth, I would love for you just to start painting the picture of your life 7, 8 years ago, where you were at, what felt heavy, what felt overwhelming for you.
Yeah, hi Amber. Thank you for having me. And I just have loved this journey with you because it's been a big journey. I was in a completely different place 7, 8 years ago than I am now. At the time, I was a single mom. I was going through this 2 year long immigration process trying to get my who is now husband over to the United States, and he had never met his son yet. And I was working 4 different jobs. I was burning the candle at both ends, as they say. And I was just at a place in my life where I had really kind of lost hope, honestly, of just feeling like this kind of hamster wheel that we get put into. There's nowhere to go. And like, how is tomorrow going to look any different than today? And it was really hard on my heart and hard on my soul. And at the time, I was also, struggling financially, trying to pay for this immigration and being a single mom. And I was on welfare and just kind of like, what? This isn't it for me. There's got to be more. And so, yeah, it was a really intense time of my life. But like they say, you kind of sometimes have to hit rock bottom in order to start the climb back up. And that's kind of exactly what it was for me. So I'm actually grateful for that rock bottom because it revealed a lot of things in me that needed to come to the surface and then show me, okay, you can create a new path. Let's do this. Like, no more of this. So that's where I was.
Yeah, yeah. And you were, having all these jobs and you were, needing the financial assistance. And then, like, what shifted to, perpetuate you forward and to grow and to be where you're at today?
Yeah, I mean, it was really kind of like one moment. I really remember it. Like I had really hit that low. Like it was late at night. I think it was probably like 11. I had just worked a bunch of jobs. I came home, got my son situated. I still had more work to do. And I just kind of collapsed on the kitchen floor and was like, you know what? Help me. God, please help me. Like, what is my next step? And in that despair and just feeling like, I didn't have anything else to give. Like what can I do? I heard this small voice in my head just saying, Mom, do it for me. And that's a moment where I was like, you know what? It's actually not even about me anymore. It's about this child. It's about the purpose that's been put on my life. It's about, why God put me on this planet. And so as soon as I kind of got out of my own self-pity and self-wallow, honestly, that was a huge moment of transformation for me where I realized like I'm going to do whatever I have to do to create whatever I got to create so my son can have a good life and so he can, oh, sorry, so he can meet his father. And it just was a pivotal moment of just deciding to move from victimhood to the creator of my own reality. And I really had to hit that moment of rock bottom to create that perspective shift in my own life. And so I just made that decision that night, like, okay, each day I'm going to take one small step towards the life that I desire and start working my way out of this.
Yeah. So yeah, making that decision is crucial and not sitting in the agony and having that hope back. So what door opened for you that led you to where you're at now?
Yeah, so it's the door that actually brought us together too. Right after I'd put that prayer out after that night, like little things started happening in my life where I was noticing, like, oh, there's a new opportunity coming forth my way, and it's whether or not I take the opportunity or not. And so the opportunity to start an organic superfood business came my way, and it was an online business. I was really excited about it because I knew there are a lot of people making money online, but I just had never done it. I never knew how to do it. And, health is that's my jam. And so I was like, wow, if I could make a go for this, start creating an online business, do it in partnership. There were so many people within this community that I could lean on for support. So I wasn't doing it alone, like all my other jobs. And I had the opportunity to start this business and just, number one, transform my own health with the opportunity. And then number two, just start to see what I could create in terms of residual income and, building something online that doesn't demand 100% of my time so I could give more of my time to my son. And I'd never done anything like it, but I was like, maybe this is it. Maybe this is the ticket. And so I just went full into it. I was like, what can I learn? How can, just do it, Mary. And I kind of that day I signed like a year-long contract with myself. And I said, you're going to give it the best you can give it for a year. And if it fails at that point, then you can kind of readjust, but give it your all, learn as much as you can and go for it. And that's when everything started to change for me.
Yeah, and I believe you were able to bring your husband to the United States. You had the immigration process complete, and you've grown your family since then as well. And you have other things happening where you're homeschooling your kids. Um, and so with all of this, you've created rhythms throughout your day, and they've changed throughout your seasons as well. Can you kind of create a picture for us with your rhythms and how that keeps you grounded throughout the day?
Yeah, so when I was struggling, it seemed like my rhythms were always focused externally. Like I was always focusing on what needs to get done and who do I need to serve. And it was just this constant external output that was leaving me completely drained. And as I started this journey of, stepping into more responsibility in the business world, taking on a family, taking on more responsibility in that world, I realized that in order for me to serve at my highest capacity, I need to fill my own cup first. And I have a mentor who always says, don't just pour from your full cup, but pour from the overflow. Like keep your cup full for you so you can be sustained and nourished and, operating at your best, and then pour from the overflow and give others your overflow. And that was a huge perspective shift for me of, just focusing more of my rhythms on making sure that my nervous system is regulated, making sure that, I'm properly fed and nourished before I start going out and being out in the world, making sure that I'm taking time for prayer and, quiet time and silent time to hear my own thoughts. And so much of my rhythms have now been focused more internally versus externally. And that has been the biggest shift for me in terms of my capacity, my ability to get more done, my ability to show up in the world in a bigger way, to be there for my family. Because I think so many of us were just constantly focused on the external and what we're getting back from it versus how can we pour into ourselves and then give from there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and you're not sharing of the self-love, you're sharing of, um, you know, being part of this greater, creation of supporting your system before you can support somebody else's. And that's very intuitive and ways leaders can continue to lead because they have that capacity to build. And so, what role has your work or business played in the growth over your years? You've had this business and you see the capacity that you need for it. And you shared some ways of you've grown, but how have you grown further into these roles through the years?
Yeah, well, there's nothing like stepping into your own leadership when you're not ready. Like when you have to start leading people before you even feel competent at it. And that's really what this business taught me. And the growth that I've had in my life is just kind of taking that step before I'm ever ready. And it's worked time and time again for me. Like whenever I feel a hesitation or a resistance or like even fear coming in, I know that's exactly where I need to dive deeper and just go for it. And it's become kind of my now automatic like response to, okay, if I feel timid, step in even more. And so I'm just all about like jumping in before you're ready. That has been the biggest um, uh, point of growth for me and impacted my growth the most of just becoming a leader before I was ready, becoming someone who's better at communicating before I even knew all the communication skills, right? Becoming someone who knows the business metrics before I even understand them all myself, but jumping in and learning, right? And so that's just been my biggest tip is like go before you're ready because the fact that you don't want to do it is your sign that you are ready.
Yes, and you've been really good at teaching that to others and to your team. So I appreciate that and doing a lot of things uncomfortably. Um, So, you look at your home and your family life now, um, not just externally, but what feels different, internally for you than it used to?
Yeah, everything. It's interesting because when I first started this business, one of the first questions I got asked was trying to create the dream picture of your life. Like if bills were no barrier, you had all your bills paid, you were just like living to be and share your energy with the world, what would you be spending your time doing? What would your life look like? And I truly painted a picture that looks so much of what it looks like today, just having ample time to spend with my family, homeschool, be a pioneer of health and a role model for others in that way, be a leader of my own life, be someone that inspires other people to take sovereignty and ownership of their own life. And that's what it looks like now. And so the beauty of it is I'm able to live all these things simultaneously, whereas in the past, I think it would have really, really drained me. But because I have these daily rhythms that I've integrated that are really focused on self-care and self-leadership and self-responsibility, it blows me away every day, like the capacity of things that I'm able to handle. I have another business that I run for my husband too, and we travel a lot. And it's like a lot of times I'm like, how are we navigating all these things that we're navigating? But the reality is I'm able to weave in all of my passions and, really just keep expanding what's possible in life. And so the biggest shift for me has been moving from that space of constriction to expansion. And that's one thing that I do in my daily rhythms is if I'll stop and ask myself, like, am I reacting out of a constrictive place or am I reacting out of an expansive place? Am I answering in expansion or am I, answering in reactivity? And that's a huge rhythm that's changed my life because it's help me to open up more to the expansiveness of life and what is possible and the ability to actually hold all that because I'm going back to those daily rhythms that pour in versus just take out.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. So, if there's a mom listening or anyone listening that feels really stretched thin, doesn't know, where to go to next, is on the kitchen floor, asking God for a way out, what do you want her to know, or what do you want them to know?
So, one of the things that I've used for myself, and I think it's a game changer, is just start small. Like, start with 5 minutes, start with a minute if that's all you have, and just ask yourself, what can I do right now to shine more of my light? And anytime I'm in that moment of desperation or just life is feeling like too much, I just stop and I take a minute and I say, what can I do to shine more of my light? And sometimes that's like go stand outside for a minute and get some sunshine and take some deep breaths, right? Sometimes that's go give your children a hug. Sometimes that's go make yourself a nourishing shake. Like it can be different depending on the moment, but it's these small little steps that we take that we implement into our life that brings about the consistency for us to be able to achieve the larger things. So it's just start where you're at, start small, and start with asking yourself simple questions of how you can show up more in your own unique brilliance, your own unique gifts, your own unique light, and let that be what leads you through your life.
Yes, I love it. I love that. So yeah, if you feel that, you want to hear more of Mary Beth's story or of, this community that we have together, I would love for you to reach out to me in the comments or just on social media and let me know that you're interested in to learn more about either nutrition or how this business can up level where you're at now. So thank you, Mary Beth, for your time. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks, Amber. Have a great day.
You too.